So you want to main Serqet, Goddess of Venom. First, ask yourself, why do you want to main Serqet? You enjoy killing your enemies quickly. You love watching your enemies frustrated as you escape without a scratch. You like feeling like a true, low-key assassin. You love an assassin who can do a ton of damage with defense. But before you choose to main her, it's good to know the cons of Serqet. She relies on picking off enemies. She does not do well in the middle of teamfights if enemies are aware of her. Serqet is a SMITE Egyptian assassin. SMITE has classified her as an average god, and I find her between average to hard. If you're an experienced Serqet player, or you just love playing her, feel free to leave any tips down in the comments below. In this guide, we're exploring Serqet as a jungler and support, going through her abilities, attack cancelling, combos, builds, counters, what not to do, and general combat tips. We'll be going through this guide from mostly a Conquest perspective, but don't worry, you can easily implement this guide into other game modes as well. With that, let's go through Serqet's abilities. Serqet's passive, Catalyst. Serqet's basic attack apply Catalyst. They will consume her lingering poisons. If the target is affected by 2 or 3 different poisons, they take additional damage. Serqet's first ability, Deathbane. Serqet's 1 is a dash ability type. Serqet dashes 3 times from side to side. This deals damage and applies Deathbane poison to each enemy hit. This ability can critical hit. Serqet is immune to knockups while dashing. Deathbane will reduce the target's physical protections for a short time. It will linger in a dormant state for 20 seconds. The debuff does not stack but will be refreshed on each hit. This is her main damage and clear. Serqet's second ability, COBRA'S Kiss. Serqet's 2 is a line ability type. Serqet launches her 2 blades forward, dealing damage and applying COBRA'S Kiss poison. COBRA'S Kiss poison drives gods to madness. This forces them to attack nearby allies, or walk towards Serqet. After the madness, COBRA'S Kiss remains in a lingering dormant state for 20 seconds. You fire 2 blades, one after the other. You can redirect the other blade as shown here. If you miss the first one, you may be able to get the second one off if you react fast enough. This is her main CC and setup. Serqet's third ability, Ambush. Serqet's 3 is a leap ability type. Serqet vanishes one after the other in place. Serqet may leap once, revealing herself and dealing damage to enemies. She will stay hidden until she leaps or cancels this ability. Enemy gods who are very close will also reveal her. The cooldown will begin still even if cancelled. This is her main escape and chase. Serqet's ultimate, Last Breath. Serqet's ultimate is a leap ability type. Serqet leaps to an enemy. This will stun the enemy and then apply Last Breath poison. It will then push them away into your chosen direction. The poison deals damage over the next 5 seconds. This will prevent them from healing. If an enemy dies while infected, they will explode. All enemies within range of the target will be poisoned. Now let's get into the leveling priority for Serqet's abilities. For the first 5 levels, at level 1, her 1, at level 2, her 2, at level 3, her 3, at level 4, her 1, at level 5, her ultimate. If you are playing pretty passive or safe, feel free to grab her first ability before her third ability instead. For leveling priority, her first ability for increased damage and the protection reduction, her ultimate for increased damage, her second ability for increased damage and madness duration, her third ability for increased damage. So basically, 1, 4, 2, 3. Attack cancelling for Serqet. Attack cancelling allows for some extra damage. Basically, if you watch closely, it will cancel out some of the animation and go right into another basic or ability. This gives you consistent DPS and is not mandatory to learn if you don't want to. I would say that attack cancelling is not worth it on Serqet. You should not use any basic attacks in between your abilities. Combos for Serqet. Before we get into combos, a few pointers. Serqet's second ability is her main setup. It works 2 ways. If there is an enemy that is close enough to your target, they will walk towards them. If there is no enemy god in range, they will walk towards you. Remember that you get 2 throws with her second ability, which means you can have 2 enemies run towards each other. Keep this in mind because then you will know where you'll have to follow up with your first ability. You can engage your combos with Blink and your third ability. However, it is recommended to try and avoid using your third ability for engagements unless you're finishing off an isolated target or it is extremely safe to do so. If you miss your second ability on a target, I recommend not continuing the engagement and wait until it comes off cooldown. Serqet is a combo and get out god. She doesn't stay for long and definitely shouldn't. With your ultimate, throw the enemy against a wall or towards your allies. Your first ability can also be used as an escape if needed. When using your first ability with your combo, you want it as shrunk as possible to maximize damage output on the target. Do not use autos in between abilities, always use it after your combo. This is due to her passive. You will see the poison diamond mark next to the target's health bar. This is extremely strong when you have 3 poisons on the enemy, which can only happen if you use 3 poison abilities on the enemy. Her third ability does not apply a poison. Serqet's main combo is 2, 1, basics. Her full combo is 2, 1, 4, basics. Builds for Serqet. Builds always depend on what kind of enemies you're up against. My builds in this video are just a general guideline. You can adjust accordingly depending on your game and situations. Serqet is very flexible with builds because she has true damage. This means you can even go full tank. For a Conquest jungle build, Assassin's Blessing, Tier 1 of Jotun's Wrath, Teleria Boots, finish Jotun's Wrath, and Style if against a magical jungler, otherwise Masamune or Blackthorn Hammer. You can also build both in one build as well. From there, it would be pretty situational. Items you can pick up but not limited to are Titan's Bane, Magi's Cloak against CC, Brawler's Beatstick if you need anti-heal, Mantle of Discord is good to give you time to get out, Spirit Robe, Crusher, Bloodforge for lifesteal. Please note you'll want to sell boots for a 7th item once you have picked up Elixir of Speed. Only pick up this consumable once you've finished your build and relics completely. A full finished build could look like this: Assassin's Blessing, Jotun's Wrath, Teleria's Boots, Masamune, Magi's Cloak, Brawler's Beatstick, sell Assassin's Blessing for Mantle of Discord, pick up Elixir of Speed under consumables, sell your boots and pick up Titan's Bane. For relics, Serqet generally picks up Blink and Beads. This build can also be used outside of Conquest. Replace Assassin's Blessing with Attacker's Blessing instead. As she is very flexible, you could go full damage if you want to, but I do not recommend this in Conquest if you're in a high level of play. For a Conquest support build, as with support, it is highly dependent on what kind of game you have. Guardian's Blessing, Teleria Boots, Gauntlet of Thebes, Oni Hunted's Garb or Sovereignty, you can pick up both, Spirit Robe, Magi's Cloak, Lono's Mask. There are other items you can build depending on what you need in your game. Relics Serqet would pick up as a support tend to be Blink and Heavily Agility or Shell, depending on what your team needs as well. Counters of Serqet. Crowd control counters Serqet. This is why Magi's Cloak and Beads are very important for her. Not having any escapes up. This is why Blink is core on her as well. Magi's Cloak and Beads counter her ultimate and second ability. Missing her second ability. Serqet needs to land that ability to set up her combo. This means she heavily relies on hitting her second ability. Enemies with good jukes. Her second ability is not the easiest to land. AEGIS can counter the damage of her second ability and or ultimate. Keeping your distance. Serqet requires to be very close to you. What not to do as Serqet. Do not engage with your third ability if it's absolutely not safe to do so. Serqet relies on her third ability for escapes. Make sure you use this cautiously if you use it for other reasons. It's always preferable to engage with Blink. Do not jump into the middle of fights. Serqet is easy to kill. Do not engage if you miss your second ability. This is your setup. Do not use basic attacks in between abilities. Do not stay too long. Serqet jumps in, destroys, and gets out. General combat tips for Serqet. With Serqet, you generally want to use your combo and basic until they're dead or it's not safe for you to stay there anymore. You can use your first ability as an escape. Practice landing your second ability. This ability is extremely important. If there are 2 enemies in range of your second ability, hit them both so they will be taunted towards each other. You'll be able to use your first ability on both targets that way. Do keep in mind which direction your target will be taunted when using the second ability. Remember, if a target is close to an enemy, they will walk towards their direction. If there is no enemy in range of the target will walk towards you. This is good to know so you know where to use your first ability. If you ult on an enemy and you're certain they're going to die, push them towards their allies. Remember, if they're poisoned by your ultimate and they die, that poison will poison any enemy in range. With that being said, you can even ult on an enemy minion and push them towards the enemies. This is extremely good in teamfights where enemies are bunched up together. Remember that you are immune to knockouts with your first ability. And that is all for the Serqet guide. If you would like to request a god guide or simply just to support me, you can find a coffee donation link in the description box below. Let me know what god you would like to main next in the comments. Subscribing and likes would be super rad, clicking the bell really helps me out. I hope to see you for the next one. Bye!